Imagine being loved but never respected, desired yet discarded. In the shadows of marble temples and golden palaces, there existed a group of men whose stories history tried to forget: the male concubines of ancient Greece. Their lives were filled with beauty, passion, and unbearable pain. They were worshipped in private, yet mocked in public. Unlike the romanticized tales of heroic Spartans and philosophical Athenians, these men lived behind velvet curtains, often without choice, their dignity exchanged for survival. They were boys often sold by their families or captured as war slaves, trained to please powerful men, aristocrats, and rulers. But their beauty was both a gift and a curse. One wrong word, one sign of aging, and they could be thrown away like broken pottery. This is not a story of lust. It is a story of identity, of powerlessness, and of the silent cruelty that wore the mask of culture and custom. Today we'll step inside their world, a world gilded in gold but built on suffering. This is the tragic life of a male concubine in ancient Greece. And once you hear their story, you'll never look at ancient history the same way again. In 5th century BCE Athens, wealth and status ruled everything, even love. Male concubinage, though not officially recorded as a formal system, existed in the spaces between slavery, love, and dominance. Boys as young as 12 were taken from conquered lands like Thrace, Persia, or even rural Greek towns and trained to become Palaki companions, entertainers, and sexual slaves to noblemen. One such boy was Theron, the son of a humble potter from Thebes. When Thebes lost a border war, Theron was captured and sold in the Agora, the Athenian marketplace, his body examined like cattle. Bought by a powerful Athenian statesman, he was renamed Kleitos, the chosen one, not out of affection, but ownership. Theron was stripped of his name, his culture, and his autonomy. He was bathed, perfumed, taught music, dance, poetry, not for his own growth, but to amuse and arouse. He lived in luxury, but not freedom. Dressed in soft fabrics, fed the finest foods, and yet he could never leave the home without permission. He was not a guest, he was a possession. His master, Diodoros, would praise him at parties, flaunting Theron's beauty like a fine sculpture. But if Theron spoke out of turn, if he grew defiant, or even simply aged, the punishment was swift. A concubine's worth diminished with time. By 20, many were cast aside. Some found themselves sold again, others turned to prostitution in the shadows of the temples. A few lucky ones were freed, but with no family, no name, and no skills for survival outside pleasure. They were outcasts in their own land. Theron's body bore the signs of pleasure and pain alike, bracelets that once symbolized favor, now reminders of his bondage. On cold nights, he would look out from the marble balcony and watch Athenian boys laughing freely in the streets, wondering what his life might have been if war hadn't stolen his youth. But Theron wasn't just a passive victim. He observed, he learned. He memorized Diodoros' speeches, his alliances, the gossip of politics. And one day, as Diodoros aged and became more reliant on Theron, the power began to shift just a little. Theron whispered advice, gave insights, and eventually became an unofficial counselor. Still, no matter how intelligent or strategic he was, society would never call him a citizen, never grant him honor. Even as he saved Diodoros from scandal with a well-placed warning, he remained invisible in the public eye. And when Diodoros died from illness, Theron was left with nothing. No inheritance, no home, just silence. He ended his days working at a bathhouse, helping younger boys who had suffered the same fate. He taught them poetry, told them to remember their real names, to never let go of who they were inside. "You may be owned," he once told a boy, "but your soul is yours." The story of Theron is not unique. Across ancient Greece, many like him lived between admiration and objectification. They were beautiful but disposable, intelligent but silenced, used for pleasure, never given love. We often romanticize ancient Greece for its art, its philosophy, its democracy. But beneath the marble lies a truth rarely spoken, a truth of those whose lives were sacrificed for comfort and desire. In remembering them, we honor a hidden part of history, a part that teaches us that beauty without freedom is a cage, and power without compassion is cruelty. If Theron's story moved, you share it. Talk about the forgotten people behind the statues and scrolls. Let's question what history leaves out and why. Because every time we remember someone like Theron, we take a step towards restoring their stolen